So this is a brief meditation that personally found maybe kind of useful, and it's something that maybe I've repressed a little bit, or probably quite a bit, and it might help you. So the idea is that, using that spiral dynamic system, the purple system is magical, right? We see it from the ages of 1.5 to about 3. Whether or not you believe, in fact, that these individuals have sort of magical powers per se, doesn't really matter necessarily, although some of this meditation hinges on a bit of that idea to some degree. So there is recent research that seems to show that your pineal gland moves from your back of your throat up into the center of your brain early on in development. It actually, your brain is still changing quite profoundly at a young age. And that might account for some of the DMT, which is somewhat associative with the pineal gland, although the research at this point is preliminary and there's not a lot of information about this. But it might indeed open these little beings up to, supernatural things that we are not typically open to. Hence, in part, potentially, some of the notions of being magical. So again, as I said, I've sort of repressed this part of myself, in part, I think because there's a sense in which I feel there needs to be order in what we're going into. But on the other hand, to repress this is even more dangerous. So there's a heart meditation, and if you believe that we are energetic beings, then there might be a way in which we can tap into the energies of these other beings. So you just focus, as it were, understanding the purple V-meme to some degree on what that energy means, and putting your heart into that to enhance their situation. There's I think this is a Buddhist meditation of breathing in the suffering, breathing out love. So you could do something along those lines, focusing on that particular developmental band, because what I'm starting to think is that might be the most oppressed sort of group of individuals, especially in the West with our reductionist model. And, understandably, to some degree, historically, the fundamentalist Christian worldview says magic is dangerous and so forth. So that voice is, in many respects, oppressed, potentially. And there might be an urgency or a needing for this if indeed there's a fractal pattern, as spiral dynamics suggests, with turquoise being a fractal overlay of the purple system. So we need that vital voice. And I say vital because I think it is vital in that it embodies sort of vitalogical experience in a very important sense. So I'm going to try to focus on this more. It might be in part some of the reason I don't have children and so forth. I've repressed it to some important degree. Like Ken Wilber, for example, calls children, and I'm not blaming him, but quite kind of Nazis, because that's the worldview that they tend to have at that age. Although of course we all are born as Nazis in a certain sense, but it's to open up to the magic of this is to release a certain sense of profound freedom and capacity in these beings that transcends that is indeed marvelous in its characteristics at that age. I don't know. So, be well.